領域展開無料空所
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Spectro here, and today I want to talk to you guys about my trip and how I felt after playing Final Fantasy XVI Echoes of the Fallen and the Rise of the Tide DLC. And what is it? Rise of the Tide, was it? I think it's the Rising Tide. Yeah, that's how you say it. Alright. But anyways though, I honestly got on DLCs feeling very surreal, I should say. Because honestly, when I started playing and I got into the DLC, well, first I had to do all the side missions. I didn't know that was going to be such an important thing for me to do when I got into it. If you have any intentions of playing these DLCs anytime soon, I highly suggest you get on Final Fantasy 16 and do your side missions first, because you're going to need to do them. Well, you ain't gotta do all of them. I think it's just one like Priceless, and I think there's another one you do for Joshua. I can't remember what the name of it was. There's one you go and visit their father's grave, Archduke, everyone's grave, and it's the whole thing. I ain't get too deep into it in case you end up doing it yourself. But most part though, it's honestly crazy just how, like I said before, it's surreal because I play in the DLCs, knowing the DLCs take place before the end of the game, and knowing the end of the game at this point, because you got to beat the game to do the DLCs, guys. So I didn't play Final Fantasy mode because I didn't go back and play the game. Alright, this first time I played Final Fantasy 16 probably some months now. I can't remember the exact number in months, but it's been quite a couple of months. It's been maybe close to 8 months, maybe 8 or 6 months. I don't know. I can't remember exactly when the game came out, but I didn't know it's been a while since I last played. Alright, and honestly, it felt weird trying to get back into the game because I've been playing a lot of Rebirth, and it's like the systems, you would think they're pretty similar for the most part, but kind of different, honestly, guys. You know, especially if you go from one to the other, like you've been playing a lot of it. It's not like I've just been playing a little bit, I'm playing a lot of Rebirth, so it's like I'm coming off of that, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm thinking it's gonna be real similar. It's similar in its own little way, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you ain't got your little menus and material, you ain't doing all this and that. That's not a thing in 16. You know, you got your weapon, you're going in, icon abilities, get those combos going, you know, all the good stuff. All right, let's get into what I want to talk about right now. All right, I just wanted to chop it off by talking about Echoes of the Fallen. It was a fun DLC, honestly. You know, you get into it, you meet these group of people who honestly are doing mining, and they're getting these little supplies, and they're getting all these rocks and stuff, and I think it's like, I can't even remember what they called it. It's like black little crystals. They were getting them, and basically they were selling them, making money. Find out this is a mother crystal that's created by Fallen themselves created this little mother crystal and have been sustaining it on their own. So that's the whole thing. And you know, it's like more of like a little mini art type of thing. Honestly, it could have easily been like a side mission, honestly, inside of the main story part of the main game. Maybe that's just something they decided not to include into the main game, not sure. Rise of the Tide was much more fun for me. It didn't take me no time hardly to do Echoes. Echo spots took me like an hour at best. An hour, yeah. And it was like, I got through it and I was like, it could have been a little longer. It wasn't terrible. I had my fun. You know, I got a couple of new accessories and got new items. And also, I forgot I had that, equipped. What's it, auto dodge? Like an accessory give you auto dodge. Took that off because honestly, that was doing me. It was actually making me kind of bored of the game because I was just dodging everything. What's the fun in that? I forgot I even had that equipped, honestly. I think I equipped it after I beat the main boss. I think after the main boss. Now, I'm not sure. Somebody could probably fact check me on that because I got my entire playthrough on my channel. So somebody could probably be like, no, Spectro, you didn't do that. You had it on the entire time, you liar. Alright, I'm sorry. If I had it on, I had it on. My bad. I forgot. But for the most part, though, I did take it off because it's just more fun to play without it. I'd rather dodge on my own. Didn't have it do for me, and now I'm understanding why people prefer the turn-based. But I do not hate it. Don't get me misunderstand. I don't hate the system, but I do get why. It's just so much more for you to do, especially like you think about 13, how you have so many different choices and abilities you can choose from, so many different combos, and it allows you to think a lot. Like you're doing a lot of thinking when you're playing 13 or 7 remake, or you know, just 10 or any other previous Final Fantasy. This Final Fantasy is probably like the only Final Fantasy I can think of off the top of my head where you don't use it. Obviously, it's not turn-based, but it's also a system where you're not like doing like using a lot of materials and stuff like that. Most of the fact, it plays more close to like, you know, God of War or something like that. You're basically full control. You're fighting your enemies. As you can see, icon abilities is what you use to get your combos in. You use different icons. You get those. You upgrade those. And honestly, I think this game could have benefited a lot more from Clyde being able to have multiple weapons. Him only being able to use a sword and his way held him back. And also, he did lack. I didn't notice this before when I first played through it, and that's just because I was so excited to play the game. But as I was going through the DLCs, I did realize, like, yeah, he don't have as many combos as I thought he did. But maybe that's just because you're supposed to make up for that by using it with your iconic abilities. And, you know, with Garuda, how you can just go up in the air, spin, come back down. You know, you're supposed to take those iconic abilities, mix them together, and create your own combos from them. You know, I try to get a little creative with it and do my own thing with it, come with different combos and whatnot. And it's pretty fun, honestly. Really different in its own way, and I think that's a great thing for Final Fantasy 16. So I think it's a good thing and a bad thing for it. It's a good thing that it's different, and it's also being its own game. You know, stop being a part of a huge franchise, a series of games that also have their own thing going for them. So being different is always a good thing for Final Fantasy games. But also, trying to have variety, I think, is very important as well for 16 for the most part. But I don't get too deep into it. I feel like I haven't played enough Final Fantasy games, so I only have, so far right now, I'm trying to build my collection, I'm making my way down the list. I have 13, 7 remakes, 7 rebirth, half of 10, and 16. So, and Dissidia, 012. And I do plan to play Final Fantasy 9 sometime soon, and probably not this month, maybe like next month, I'm not sure yet. And then I plan to go back to 10 and finish that like I should have done. And then, you know, you can go get some more Final Fantasy in, alright? Back to this Echoes of the Fallen, though. This is fun DLC, honestly. If you're looking for the extra content, you just love the world of Final Fantasy 16. I love the story, and I love the world of Final Fantasy 16 as well. So, I was definitely down to get more into it. I was disappointed to find out that, yeah, it took place but before the end of the game. Which makes sense. If you know the end of the game, then at this point, you know that Clyde dies at the end of the game, alright? And don't say spoiler, because let's be honest, guys. You clicked on this video, you're talking about DLCs that come before the end of the game. But these are DLCs after you had to already beat the game. So, you're here, alright? That's your warning right there. That should be kind of common sense. But anyways, Final Fantasy in 16, you know, Echoes of the Fallen. Honestly, if I had a scale from 1 to 10, it's probably like a 7 out of 10 out of me. Just for me, personally. But you had a couple of good mid-boss fights, and you had, you know, a lot of things that challenge you and use different combos and attacks. But for the most part, the boss fight was my funnest fight from the Echoes DLC. Everything else was easy for me to get through and beat those little mini bosses and mid-bosses and push those to the side and keep on my own thing. And then after that, of course, we got the Rising Tide DLC. Alright, you guys know about that. That was a lot of fun. That DLC definitely felt like that should have been part of the game. Alright, that DLC basically is about Leviathan and Leviathan dominant, and why Leviathan apparently just wasn't around for the main story, but it definitely could have fit into the main story. I'm not sure if it was just due to constraints and, you know, release schedules. That probably the most likely reason why they couldn't put that into it, but that definitely felt like that should have been part of the main story, and I would have loved for it to be part of it. It just would have fit better, honestly. You know, weirdly enough, if I had to be honest, now that the DLCs are out and part of it, I would suggest if someone was gonna play the DLCs for the first time, or just Final Fantasy 16 in general for the first time, then you probably should try to fit those DLCs and try to play those, you know, while you're doing the main story. I'm assuming you can do so after you do a certain amount of side missions and you do those specific side missions. That you should be able to do those DLCs before you get to the last mission. So, but I'm not sure if it requires you to beat the game for it. It might require you because due to the level difference, you know, they increase the levels of Leviathan and all the monsters on DLC, so they might be way higher than you, or you might be too weak to do it. But I guess it depends, honestly. I'm not sure. I never tried playing I didn't try playing the game over again. I thought about it, and then at the time when Final Fantasy first came out and I beat it, I can't remember. It was another game came out. And I wanted to play that. So I didn't end up going back to playing Final Fantasy mode and doing the game over again. Usually I do go do that on my own time, but I didn't do that for this, and yeah. I just ended up picking up where I left off in the main story in the original games, my original gameplay playthrough, and I was just sitting there like right after the end mission. Now, what confused me is that when you come back, I've forgotten that you can do the last mission again. I almost ended up doing the last mission again. That was crazy. Honestly, I don't know if I want to show you guys that footage of me damn near halfway doing the fucking last mission again to realize, like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing the side missions instead of doing the final mission again. But anyways, though, the Rise of the Tide, it was good. It was a good DLC because it really took you to a whole different part of the map, and I didn't think about all those little like dark spots, like little black spots on your map where you can't really see nothing there, and it's like a giant whole nother village. And, they got hidden and stuff, and nobody knows it's there. And if you have your guy Shula who takes you there, and she shows you, and she's basically like the chief of the village that basically been leading the people and taking care of all the major problems. And I think she was like the only person there who can use magic. So, and I found it interesting how they was like Clive and Jill was in there wondering like why did she not have the mark on her face or her being a bearer. But since they kind of been like cut off from society or the rest of the world this entire time, the idea of like bears and marks and stuff like that, they ain't really had that going on in their village since they've been isolated. So it was really interesting to see that outlook, and definitely it was a fresh take to see the sky blue instead of that ugly purple. Man, that was a very refreshing sight to see. Really go to show you how beautiful the Final Fantasy 16 world is, when it's not hollowed out and fucking purple and all that. So it was good. It was good to explore, and definitely in this DLC you had way more side missions that you can do. A couple more bounties came into play, so all that wasn't in the Echoes. I tried to look to see if there was any side missions for you to do at Echoes, but weren't really no side missions like that. You just like go and do some real main objective, and then you went to the little Mother Crystal Tower, which you see here, and you fight against the Omega at the end, and then that was it. That was it for Echoes. So I'm glad in the Rising Tide it expanded more and gave you way more to do. So you just didn't go and do the one main mission and you just be done. You got side missions and you basically had a whole bunch. And then, just keep working at it. Or if you want to take a break, you want to do something different, you could do that, And I like that. I like that for DLCs. I like when DLCs don't just hand you one objective and they tell you, yeah, you do this objective and yeah, you're done. All right. I want to be able to do more things. Get little side things, new items. It's a good thing. And he had his own blacksmith. That was convenient. So I don't have to keep going all the way back to the hideaway and get blacksmith and get new items and try out and see what else I can craft. And also, let's talk about this. This mission specifically, no, this part of the fight I fucking hated with a passion. Is it just me? Why is this part intentionally really fucking hard? I take that back. I wouldn't even say that this part of the fight was hard against Leviathan. It was literally really fucking annoying. I died at this one specific part, I say at least 7 times. And the reason for it being is honestly baffling. I literally was doing everything to destroy that shield, but some odd reason I was just running out of time. Now, I was dodging Leviathan's attacks. I was dodging everything. I kid y'all now. I was dodging all the attacks, bro. Look at me, bro. Look at me. Just look at this, bro. I'm dodging the attacks. I might be taking a couple hits. I see I'm taking a couple hits, but understand for the most part, I was dodging attacks. And I was getting those hits in, bro. And I was just running out of time. And he would use, I can't even remember the name of that attack. I shouldn't know the name of it, but he uses an attack that's literally unblockable. He basically just drowns out the entire village and everything. So you had to start all over. And I did this 5-6 times, bro. Literally, it was ridiculous how many times I kept doing the same part over and over again. And they got to thinking damn, why is this part so goddamn annoying? I don't know if it's just a timing thing. And it'd be I get it all the way down to just a quarter, bro. I ain't even say a quarter, just a crumb at the end of his health, bro. Or at the end of the shield's health. And basically, I get there, time runs out. I be so, but y'all understand, I rage so much. I start raging around the 4th and 5th time. I start fucking raging because it was getting on my nerves. It's I just want to know if I'm the only one that was really just having an unnecessary trouble time with this part. I don't know if it was just me. I don't know if it was just a reflection of my level or something. I like to think it might not be in my level because when you're in the Ifrit's form, I don't think that really matters at that point. But some odd reason, bro, I was just really getting hit up. I was getting hit up. I would keep doing this shit over and over. I'm damn, I'm hitting him with everything. I'm using shields. I'm using the blast. I literally, the only way I got through it was that I started timing everything. I started getting everything perfectly timed. I wouldn't waste my abilities. When the time came, I used them on site. I just had to keep using them. And I had to clutch it at the very, very end because it's you got to. If you don't get that one last, I forgot the fireball technique off at the end, and it's over. If you don't get that technique off at the end, it's over because you're just not gonna be able to put in enough damage. And then the end is bro, it's actually ridiculous though. I don't know if the developers did that on purpose or what, just to make it slow you down. But I was bro, it was actually insane how that one specific part was slowing me down. It was genuinely slowing me down in this entire fight. I was going on a good little spree. I died one time before that due to some stupid stuff because of my fault. But for the most part, I was doing a good job when it came to the shield thing. And it's just like that one part, bro. And I was like, damn, I'm wondering, am I the only one struggling with this little part? And it's just like, is it like this for everyone? I don't know. Somebody got to tell me down in the conversation, because I know I ain't the only one. He died at least once, especially when I did everything right. I did everything right. It just literally, my abilities took forever to come back. It took forever for the fireball to regenerate. So I'm like, bro, maybe I'm just doing something wrong. Maybe I just didn't do it right to regenerate it fast enough. So, but as you can see, I had a lot of fun playing versus the Leviathan fight. And honestly, I'm still stuck on the fact that this was a DLC and why this one in the game. But like I said, it's probably just the fact it just didn't, it might have been an idea that it just didn't decide not to act on, because it may have been too much and made it stretched out, like the story time for the actual Final Fantasy 16 game as a whole too much. Who knows? Alright, it just felt like this had to been in the game instead of it being like another DLC. But I'm not against it. I was wondering that I actually looked up to see if they were going to do more DLCs after the Rising Tide, but I don't think they have any plans. Apparently the dev team that did work on this DLC kind of split apart, so now everyone's working on different projects, new projects, possibly Final Fantasy 17 at this point. We should probably start looking forward to that now, because I don't think 16 is going to get any 16-2s or no like the returns or nothing like that. You know, it's just be one-off game. And then that's not to say for the future, because you're not Square Enix, but y'all, you never know. You might get like Final Fantasy 17. Next thing you know, they be like, yeah, we about to make a 16-2. Like, bro, what the fuck? Like. They just do shit like that, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I do not put it past Square Enix to do some shit like that. I genuinely wouldn't, bro. With a whole new protagonist, it'd be part of 16 universe, like, and I just be like, bro, like, you know, it just be some shit like that. But I'm not against it, you know. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I ain't put my money down to play it, because I'm gonna play it. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm quite a fan of Final Fantasy at this point. Brought me into the turn-based genre, and I'm fucking with it heavy. So they drop that 17, they be like a 16-2, we're gonna make that too. You know, I had to slide up on that, I'm not gonna deny. But for the most part though, this definitely was like a 9 out of 10 DLC for me. I don't know about you guys, but I had a lot of fun playing it. So much fun. Leviathan's fight was definitely the best, because I'm glad I got to play as Ifrit again. And this is just like so fun to do. Just being able to play as Ifrit, running around, going against another icon. That's why I was wondering, like, you can really just make a lot of more DLCs with icons, like, because I got to thinking, like, how many icons there really are in Final Fantasy franchise. I imagine there's a lot. And the only ones I couldn't think of that wasn't in this game was Gilgamesh, and then you got Kujata, and that was the only two I could think of that weren't in this game. But there's probably more, just couldn't think of it off the top of my head. And also this, look at this, bro. You can't say that's not cool looking. Like, come on now. I saw that shit, I was turned. Yeah, I ain't know, bro. I was really ducking and dodging, but man, for the most part, let's get talking about the villagers and the people of the, I can't even remember the name of that village. I want to keep thinking of the name of the village, but I can't remember the name of the village that you're in the Rising Tide. It's gonna come to me soon. I want to say his name of it was the Moat Village, like it was like Mote Village. I want to say that, but I don't think it is though. I remember the girl's name though, Shula, and she looked out and she was basically trying to save Wilius. Wilius was a baby, and he was basically banished and punished by his ancestors and sealed away. And it wasn't even his fault. They did him dirty, honestly. He was nothing but a baby, but they basically forced him to pretty much prime, to use him to their own benefit. And then they got scared when they couldn't control Leviathan. No, that's not what it was. What it was is that Leviathan noticed that they were trying to use Wilius, and instead of before they can do so, Leviathan came out and basically just straight up was gonna wash away and drown the entire village in the ruins, because they had like a whole ruined kingdom over there too. Like, it's a whole thing. All right, it's interesting stuff, and I was like, yo, this lore is getting crazy. Also, Shiva's previous dominant was part of the village as well at some point. Like a couple years ago, she was like, they called her the witch, but it turns out that she was previous dominant. Yeah, I'm not sure about that whole situation, guys. Honestly, I did a little bit of research into it, and I didn't really find much about like the whole situation with previous dominance. That's actually something that should explore upon. That would actually make a great DLC. You know, a story telling about previous dominance, except for like Ifrit. I think Ifrit is a new icon that wasn't there, like part of the history of the twins. So excluding Ifrit, and then I don't know if there's any other ones like Odin. I don't know if Odin. Well, then again, now I think about it, Barnabas is apparently not from the twins, so he's from a whole, I think it was like a whole nother country entirely. I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if he's even on record. Barnabas or previous dominant of Odin. I don't think they would have that on record. Probably don't know if they probably have on record. It's like Shiva, Phoenix, Titan, and then is Sid. I don't even know if Sid's from the twins. I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I'm trying to remember right now. It's been a while. I don't think he was though, but he could have been though. But that would be interesting to learn about the previous dominants and what happened to them, because I don't think it's really spoiled upon that much about what happened to the previous dominants and how they all died, or did the dominants just not live long, like some old Attack on Titan situation. I feel like it is. I feel like dominants wouldn't live as long. I feel like it would be like a Titan shifter sort of situation where if you become a dominant, you just don't live that long. Kind of like I say kind of like bears, honestly. When the bears keep using magic for a long time, they end up shorting their own lifespan over time, and it's one of those sort of things. So it's kind of a big mystery for me, honestly. The more I think about it, the whole situation of previous dominance and the current dominance, and just how many years does it take for a dominant to appear again in the world. And I don't think you can really track, and I don't think they really have a real way to predict when one becomes a dominant. Well, I understand that normally, from what they say in the Rising Tide DLC, is that a dominant is born. They don't just turn out to be a dominant. Like, you don't just know they're a dominant from such a young age. Like, Wilius is a baby, a literal baby. There's no way they knew that Wilius was going to end up being turned into a Leviathan so early on. They based his answers to try to use him, and it was more of a self-defense mechanism for Leviathan coming out and try to destroy an entire village and that whole situation going down. But I think for the most part, for how this is explained in the Rising Tide, is that most dominants from history is that they don't usually start showing signs of their abilities until a young age, around Joshua's age, like right here when he's just a young child. So I'm not sure what the whole deal is about that. There's a lot to be said for a dominant situation, like previous, how long they live. I'm not sure if that ever gets explained. I think they do talk about it. Like, there's random bits and pieces, especially with, I think, Archduke Erwin, I think that's how you say his name, and he talks about his situation. And I think his father was the previous one for the Phoenix before Joshua. So that's a whole thing, and we don't even know like how it's really. That's really some untapped history right there that can really look into if they ever decide they want to do more DLCs in the future. Yeah, this Rising Tide DLC made me really think about just how the whole idea that there've been dominance in history before. Now, for understand, there's only been history on Phoenix, Garuda, and Titan, and I'm not sure in Shiva. I'm not sure about everybody else. I don't think they got history for every single dominant. And like Odin or Sid's situation, I don't think he's from the twins. Anybody who's not from the twins, they probably don't have any history of them. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Anyway, I think it'll be fun just to see their story and see those stories told, and just to learn the history and find out what happened, and maybe find out how this all even started to begin. Well, I think Ultimate did explain how this all kind of started, but more of a just give me a different like point of view from previous dominants and what they had to go through and how they made their end, or how the world was, the twins were during their time in this whole situation. But I don't know how this gonna really go. I don't know if they ever decide to do it. I think it'd be a cool little thing to do. Alright, let's get a little bit deep into, well, not too deep, but let's talk about a little bit just the main story of Final Fantasy 16. And honestly, I enjoyed the story a lot. I never thought about it. I just played the game. I don't think I ever made a video just talking about how I really felt about the game. I enjoyed the game a lot. It was a lot of fun for me, honestly. It was 8 out of 10 for me. It was so much that you can do. It was just a lot of fun just to see main character turn into a actual summoning. It's actually crazy to me that has actually happened. But yeah, but at the end, I don't think I ever addressed the ending. The ending where everyone died is like, man, that was some sad shit. Alright. Honestly, I had to go back and rewatch the ending before I did this video, because I remember the ending, but then it was like, I need those raw emotions back. So I had to go see how that all played out, and man, it was just sad, man. Some sad stuff, honestly. It's really sad, and honestly, I felt like everybody shouldn't have died. Maybe Joshua made sense, and Dion, but because Joshua did it for Clive, but only for Clive to sacrifice himself in the end. I mean, yeah, he saved the world, and Clive by far has got to be one of the most kindest and generous MCs I've seen, just like main characters from Final Fantasy franchise by far, except for his mother. His mother is garbage, absolute dog shit. I wish the worst for that hoe. She deserved worse. She deserved absolutely worse. She was genuinely a terrible, and I mean absolutely garbage of a human being, bro. I don't even want to consider her human. The way she treated Clyde was insane, bro. It ain't make no sense, bro. I don't even want to get too deep. That's a whole nother video to make if I go too deep into that. But with all that being said, folks, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like video, side the video. Tell me in the comments below. I'm Spectro, and honestly, this video was just me talking about my experience and how I felt playing the DLCs, and also elaborate a little more how I felt after beating the game of Final Fantasy 16, because I never took time to talk about that. But also, and just because I had to feel that sadness of watching the ending again, you guys will feel it too.